Hi there, my name is Kay Moon and I'm a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the new moon in Gemini for 2020 happening on May 22nd, 2020 at 1:38 p.m. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States, please use a time zone converter to find the appropriate time in your local time zone. This new moon is occurring at the second degree of Gemini. You can see it here in the chart alongside a stellium, what we call a stellium in the sign of Gemini. This stellium includes Venus, Mercury, the asteroid Vesta, and the North Node. And a stellium is simply a placement of three. Some astrologers make it four. 3 to 4 placements in the same exact sign. And when we have a stellium in a chart, the stellium draws attention to the place in the chart that holds that much planetary energy. And because this much planetary energy is held in the mutable sign of Gemini at this time, all things Gemini are indicated in terms of our energies at this time. So that includes our communication, our choices, our capacity for exploration, our learning. And by person, we're talking about our siblings, our cousins, and our neighbors. This also includes short distance travel. So, from one state to the next state or one city to the next city. But not long distance travel per se overseas or across the country. This is more just kind of the short distance that we travel to get from here to there. Additionally, the final thing, Gemini, that is included here with this much attention on the planetary energy in one sign has to do with our learning and the ways that we learn and how we come to understand certain truths via our experiences with the significant people in our immediate environment. So this is a really big time because this new moon is ushering in the beginning of our eclipse season for 2020. This eclipse season begins with the first eclipse being in Gemini on June 5th. And this also ushers in a almost 2 year, it's like an 18-month cycle of the nodes having changed signs and the North Node moving into the sign of Gemini. The nodes I have found in my astrological research, some astrologers consider them destiny. Some astrologers consider them purpose. Others consider them karma. What I have discovered in my research around nodes, both from, long-term research, astrologically from scholars, but also in my experience reading for people, the nodes function a lot more like a key. And when we are operating in alignment with what the North Node is pointing to, we actually end up having more grace, ease, and flow in our lives, especially when we're operating in alignment with the North Node in our chart. Our South Node can represent the lessons that we've learned from previous lifetimes or strengths and gifts that we chose to incarnate with our strong muscle. And when we rely too heavily on the strong muscle on game board Earth, we end up finding that life constricts because we are meant to learn the lessons of the North Node. I have an entire series on the nodes in my playlist. I believe it's called the nodes or how to find your North Node. I forget. I'll link it so you can find it. But right now, collectively, because the North Node has moved into Gemini, collectively, we're all being asked to step into Gemini energy. And this is after a very long period of time in Cancer energy, the preceding nodal zodiac sign. And that Cancer energy asked us to get into alignment with our emotional integrity, to act in alignment with our emotional truths. Now, this Gemini North Node energy is going to ask us to start speaking and thinking in alignment with everything we just learned, and take that emotion and bring it up into the world of thought, because thought is what creates our 3D world. We use our words to indicate and create that which wasn't previously in existence. So, with the nodes changing signs right at the time of this Gemini new moon, the things that are happening at this Gemini new moon are indicative of the way the energies will anchor for the remainder of the nodes being in Gemini and Sagittarius through the end of 2021. Because that's when the nodes shift signs again. Well, that's when the last eclipse in this cycle occurs. The nodes will shift signs again in 2022. So, that being said, pay careful attention to the things going on in your life right now, the energies that are cropping up at this time, the things your spirit is asking you to pay attention to, the choices that you're making, the people who are showing up at this time, and the caliber and quality of interactions. The wonderful thing about Gemini energy is that it's choice energy. It's the opportunity for us to examine what's on both sides of that coin, what lives at both sides of the spectrum, and it gives us the opportunity to choose what we'd like to make real. And so this cycle is heralding in a period of time that is allowing us to choose our ascended path forward in our lives after this moment. So let's get into the way this new moon energy is aspected and the overall vibration next. Now that you understand what the energies are about and how significant they are, then we'll get into some of the secondary energies after that. The primary energies aspecting this particular new moon include a trine to Juno conjunct the shaman's asteroid here in the sign of Libra. The air sign of Libra is all about partnership. In addition to partnership, it's about balance, fairness, justice, and equity. We've got the partnership asteroid retrograding in this sign, as well as the shaman's asteroid retrograding in this sign. We'll get into what that means in a moment. We also have a trine to the planet Saturn, who's conjunct Pallas Athena and Chariklo here. And this energy here in Aquarius, the Aquarian energy is all about the evolution, the new, the next, the technology that brings it to us, and the revolution of that which must be overthrown in order to incarnate the evolution. So it's about that evolvement from old to new. Together with Saturn being about commitment and partnership asteroid being about commitment, and both of these being air signs, Pallas being about what we want to protect, Chariklo about divine intercession and the divine allying itself with us when we ask it to. Shaman's asteroid here talking about the long journey of that which we go forth to learn, to bring back wisdom for our tribes. With this new moon energy, we are heralding in a period of time where we're being asked to recognize where we're ready to more deeply commit ourselves to our own growth, to our own evolution. With so much retrograde energy here, with the aspecting planets and asteroids, this energy is moving internally, not externally. So it's less about how we commit and explore within the world and with others. It's certainly about others with so much heavy duty partnership asteroid here in the sign of Libra, but it's about how we intend to conduct ourselves with others. What is it that we now recognize and have the choice within us to do differently so that we can evolve into more ascended light, more ascended love in our behaviors, in our thoughts, and in our words on planet Earth. That's what this new moon in Gemini is giving us as the anchor point for the next 2 years with this Gemini Sagittarius nodal eclipse cycle. It's about choosing who we are going to be in our relationships and backing up that choice with our words. That being said, there's one other aspect here that is definitely indicative of this energy here, really being about thought and about our words. It's about getting our mind and our mouths in alignment and giving them whatever course correction they need to live in an ascended state of more love. There's a square here to Mars and Ceres, the conjunction between them. Now, this planet and this asteroid, Mars and Ceres, they are not retrograde, and they're sitting here in the very spiritual sign of Pisces, connected into the ether. What's interesting about this is that this is giving us the opportunity to recognize where our energy isn't yet aligned to that committed choice that we want to be making. It's like our head is pointing one direction, but our hands are fiddling over here in a different direction, doing other things. And so there's a recognition under this new moon and this new cycle. There's a recognition about where our energy and our motivation and our passion and drive, that's Mars, is being misused or misdeployed, that is out of alignment with where our mouth and our mind are saying we want to go. There's a recognition here for all of us where we're being a little bit incongruent and disingenuous with ourselves at this time. And these kind of moments, I love them, because what they do for us is they allow us to go, aha, this is why I've been stuck. Aha, this is why my life isn't moving forward the way I needed to. Aha, this is what needs to come to completion in order for me to create the new beginning that I've been like rallying up for. So it's a beautiful energy. And these 2 years' time that we have this cycle of North Node in Gemini and this particular 18-month eclipse cycle, Gemini Sag axis, is giving us the opportunity to slowly begin to align our lives and ourselves with our ascended paths forward. It's giving us the opportunity to choose in small ways and in big ways how to create a life that is a reflection of the truth of our soul and our emotional integrity, and now the way we want our lives to be aligned with it. So it's an exciting time. It's important to remember that life is long. You know, I'm talking right now in 2-year, 18-month kind of cycles here. But in the lifespan of a single soul, there are individual lifetimes that occur as beads on an abacus. The string that holds the beads is the soul. Each individual bead could be a lifetime. And so this moment of this 2-year eclipse cycle, 18-month eclipse cycle, is a very short period of time that we're giving ourselves a course correction toward and arcing toward living the life of love that we know we are capable of in this particular lifetime and in lifetimes to come. And the reason I bring this up in terms of lifetimes is specifically because we've got a large closeout energy here as we deal in the sign of Capricorn, and many people are feeling it. We're feeling it globally as we have a lot of 3D world shifts. Capricorn is about our 3D world and the structures that we have built. And we're feeling this change that's causing us to create a breakdown so that we can have a breakthrough. And that's that Jupiter-Pluto conjunction that happens 3 times this year. I've spoken about it in preceding videos. I'm not going to get too deep into it here. But that breakdown in service of a breakthrough is one that for many people is allowing them to close out energies that predated this particular lifetime. And that may be the case for you as well, so that this next chapter in this lifetime is also opening up a next chapter for your soul in lifetimes to come. So just know that if things feel particularly heavy in a way that isn't reflective of your experiences on planet Earth at this time, know that it may be because you are also closing out energies that predate this incarnation. And that's okay. There's lots of support to help you and assist you with that closeout. I've featured many people who offer this kind of support on the channel. Feel free to check out any of the interviews that I've done. There are links below those interviews to get in touch with folks that you may resonate with who can assist you with this evolution. There will be more to come as part of the Tools for Union series if you happen to be a twin flame. But if you're not, many of these healers also specialize in things that have nothing to do with being on a relationship or twin flame path. They can help you simply more deeply align with your soul and your calling, and completing out old cycles that you're ready to let go of so you can step into what's new as you move forward from this new moon in Gemini. So those are the overarching energies for this new moon. And as okay, looks like we are back, which is good. Okay. Hopefully everything that I just shared got recorded. Let's take a quick look here at the other energies available to us during this new moon in Gemini. So we have the North Node conjunct Vesta. Vesta is about dedication, service, and commitment. And it's where we really dedicate our lives to that which is holy and sacred to us. And that thing that's holy and sacred to us being the hearth fire that keeps our soul burning bright. With the North Node conjunct Vesta here, we have an echoing of that commitment focus that this Juno and Shaman's asteroid we're speaking about, and this Pallas Chariklos Saturn conjunction we're speaking about. We've got an echoing of that same energy with the North Node conjunct Vesta. So there really is a deeper call here to being really dedicated internally at this time to the growth that we know that we need to in order to be the kind of person that's capable of the kind of life that we want. We've also got in Sagittarius the South Node conjunct Pholus. So here's the South Node, here's Pholus. These two being in conjunction together provide a very different kind of energy because they're also sextile Juno. Here's that Juno Shaman's asteroid conjunction. And in addition to sextiling Juno, they are sextiling this Saturn Pallas Chariklo conjunction as well. This would allow us to, if we choose to, it would allow us to go backwards. It would take a lot to go backwards at this point, given how much things have changed in our lives and in our conscious awareness. There's a lot of conscious awareness energy happening here in Gemini, because Gemini is about the conscious mind, not the subconscious. So we could move toward the past, toward the South Node, toward that energy of what we've left behind. We could do that if we so chose. It would take a lot of effort at this point to make that happen. But as I said earlier, an over reliance on past truths will indeed be our downfall. And that's really evidenced at this time by the way this Pholus is conjuncting the South Node. Pholus in the mythology found himself collateral damage to a fight that broke out that wasn't necessarily his fault, but it wasn't entirely not his fault either. He was a victim of being in the wrong place at the wrong time to some degree, by some accounts. By other accounts, he had made some choices that set him up for being in a very compromised position. That being said, the Pholus energy conjunct the South Node lets us know that if we try to go backwards, which we have, the universe gives us the choice, we have the option to if we want it, it will in fact undermine us at this time. And so there is a change in seasons here and a necessity and a call toward moving toward this North Node in no uncertain terms. Mercury conjunct the Venus retrograde is also hanging out in this Gemini energy. Venus is retrograde, Mercury's direct. And so, what's interesting about that is that this is a reevaluation and a bit of a divine callback, if you will. I think that's the best way to put it. In our, in both the places in our lives that Taurus rules, because Venus is the ruler of Taurus, so it's important to know your chart and know what planets and houses sit in the sign of Taurus, but also in the place that Libra rules, because Venus also rules the sign of Libra. And so understanding what planets, what houses are indicated by your Libra and by your Taurus placements will help you understand what this Venus retrograde is going to bring to conscious mind as Venus conjuncts this Mercury. Mercury is messages, and it's about communication and our consciousness. Because Mercury is going direct, but Venus is going retrograde, there will be an opportunity for us to see with our consciousness things that we previously either didn't value enough, overvalued, where value was misplaced in our Taurus sign and our Libra signs, so that we have the opportunity to make those corrections as Venus goes direct in the future. Okay. Wonderful news there. We love that energy. There's going to be a lot of insight here into our true values. I once had a mentor say to me, if you show me someone's checking account and you show me their calendar, I'll tell you what their real values are. Where we tend to place our resources of money, time, and energy is the indication of the truth of what we actually value. And this particular, because Mercury is going direct, conscious mind is working directly forward, Venus is going retrograde, we do have the opportunity to unearth and see for a fact where our values have lived when it comes to Taurus and Libra energies in our particular charts. This is a blessing because getting this right up front at the start of this nodal change is going to give us permission and all of the information that we need to make the changes we need over the next 18 to 24 months. Then I mentioned this big energy happening out here in Capricorn with Jupiter and Pluto conjunct, but it's more than just that. Jupiter and Pluto are conjunct, but they are also squaring the creation goddess, and they're squaring the asteroid Nessus. I don't think Nessus is an asteroid. I think Eris, Eris, in the sign of Aries. I think Eris is a trans-Neptunian object. I'll have to double check it. But I use it because my software provides information around it. This T-square is the final significant and amazing transformative energy for the cardinal sign eclipse cycle as Cancer and Capricorn nodes shift now into the mutable sign eclipse cycle. What I love about this energy is there's, this Jupiter-Pluto. Pluto is stripping down our optimism and forcing us to face a lot of truths. The square here to the Eris opposition of the creation goddess, Eris is spite. Eris is that energy out here in Aries of righteous riot. It's where we have been disenfranchised but refuse to go quietly. Creation goddess here is all about creating something out of nothing in our co-creation with ourselves and with the divine. They sit in the sign of the self and the other, while Pluto and Jupiter doing that massive ego strip down in the sign of work. And our work ethic and our structures of our life. And so there's a little bit of a thwarting here in our energies to be who we need to be to create what we really want and what the desires of our heart are truly showing us we're capable of. You may have a sense at this time of a bit of low energy, like the tools either aren't available, and so it's like an arduous uphill battle, or the circumstance isn't yet right, despite badly wanting to move forward, because this new moon is really showing us where we want to go. And so there's a solution to this, I have found. Anytime there's a T-square in the chart, there is a sign that's a singular sign that's conspicuous in its omission from the planetary conversation. Conspicuous in its omission is Cancer in the conversation. If Cancer were to be included, and it will be with the upcoming eclipse season, there will be a solar eclipse in Cancer coming up very soon, which will indicate a new beginning. When we bring Cancer into this really difficult conversation, what we have is an opportunity to surrender to emotional truths, to come home to our hearts, to recognize, yes, it's hard. Yes, a part of me has been stripped down. Yes, I am facing a death. Yes, there's so much I want to create. Yes, there are so many ways in which my life isn't aligned to create it at this time. And I surrender. Emotionally, I surrender to the truths being revealed to me about that complexity. And it's in going into that pain of that schism and surrendering to the truths there that we find ourselves able to emerge like the phoenix, that we find ourselves being capable of being reborn with this eclipse cycle. So, in the places where you recognize there is a bit of needing to grieve what's closed out, what's completed, this is a great new moon to do it. Because under this new moon, we have the opportunity, when we go into that grief, to find universal truths that will come to us from recognizing the pain in our emotional realities. Once we are willing to be with our emotions, they can reveal to us the truth of how our mind is constructed, the belief systems that are useful and not useful, and the true desires of our heart. And that's we're being given the opportunity to do with this T-square that's in effect all of 2020, is to go deeply into that place of emotional wisdom. Cry it out, write it out, feel it out. Do what you have to do to get in there so that the wisdom can be revealed to you this year. Because as we move further into the Gemini Sagittarius eclipse cycle, you'll be given multiple opportunities to make small choices that will amount to a big life realignment. And that's going to be awesome. The eclipses that are coming, I'm just going to touch on them briefly here because you'll have the opportunity to, just kind of follow along with them. They are here. If you go to astrologyzone.com, or if you just Google Astrology Zone table of eclipses, astrologer Susan Miller has put together a beautiful eclipse table so that everyone knows what's happening and when. Right now, we're in the year of 2020, and the eclipses you can see here on your screen that you want to mark your calendar for this season are the first lunar eclipse on June 5th in Sagittarius. We've got a solar eclipse in Cancer on June 20th, so that's a new beginning. We've got another lunar eclipse in the sign of Capricorn on July 4th. Then we've got the remaining eclipses happening at the tail end of this year. But these eclipses, these 3 eclipses, are the ones that we're all going to be feeling collectively together. There's 2 endings. Lunar eclipses portend completions. And then there's one new beginning here with this solar eclipse in Cancer. Notice it's at the 0 degree of Cancer. And that 0 degree is the beginning. It gives us the chance for an emotional new beginning, a new beginning within ourselves and the way we relate to ourselves and the way we care for ourselves and our emotions. This is truly a year for self-work, my friends, and I'm so excited that we have these eclipses that are supporting our ability to dig more deeply into our capacity to hold light and our capacity to hold love. That being said, if you know you'd like to have a look at the way this all shakes out in your chart, know that the June calendar is 95% full. May's already fully booked. But you can do that. I'd be honored to read for you. If you want one of those appointments at the tail end of June, you're welcome to grab one, and then we can look at this eclipse cycle for your chart. Just email me at chrysalismoon@gmail.com. That's KRYSALISMOON@gmail.com. And you'll get an autoresponder first that shares with you how to book. Once you've paid for your appointment, then I'll send you the invitation to schedule your reading with me, and we'll get you in for the end of June. I thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and sharing. I look forward to hearing how all of this resonates for you in the comments below. Take great care, and bye for now.